As we are slowly approaching the end of my own collection, I would like to introduce you to someone who could potentially provide us with material for more videos. He's a fellow private collector with a cabinet full of watches to die or at least go bankrupt for. And I do not mean watch models with inflated wait lists, but true overlooked gems. Henceforth, I shall call him nothing less than the Grail Keeper. And today we start with something very special, which is also quite a classical look, given that the Grail Keeper usually favors chronographs like myself. Let's talk about this 1940s Velia. Ha, got you right there. You're probably puzzled as to what a Velia is, especially after I teased how elaborate the Grail Keeper's collection is. If you're into vintage cars, Velia, or Velia Borletti, as it was known from the 1930s onwards, might ring a bell in a totally different sense, since the company was famous for its precision instruments such as tacho and speedometers and/or fuel gauges for many dream cars back then, such as Ferrari, Maserati, Lancia and also Mercedes-Benz, just to name a few. A lesser known fact is that they not only produced dash clocks and instruments, but also wristwatches such as this one. Velia unfortunately met its demise with all the other smaller brands in the 70s during the quartz crisis. Now that we have covered the connection to the automotive world, you're probably wondering how on earth is there a link between Velia and the other household brands in the watch world, which were teased in my video thumbnail. Stay tuned, we will get there in a minute. Let's talk about the details of this watch first. When I first laid eyes upon this dial, I would have never guessed that this watch is supposed to be 80 years old. It has a clean, silvery shimmer and features a quite modern look. I was briefly reminded of some Bauhaus pieces like the Nomos Tangente 101, Stova Antea or Junghans Meister, since it has those reduced Roman numerals and indices, blued stick hands, small second at 6 o'clock with a nice gouache pattern. Only the stainless steel case reveals the age and vintage appeal of this watch, as it has its fair share of dents and scratches. Considering its age, it is huge with 40 mm in diameter, which was a rare size in the 40s, and it would be a perfect fit for my 17.5 cm or roughly 7-inch wrist. 44.5 mm lug to lug and only 10 mm in height with a domed acrylic crystal on top, which rounds off the sleek look. It has 20 mm lug width and only weighs 49 grams, including the aftermarket black leather strap and simple pin buckle that I have it on. Turning the watch over, a simple pressed stainless steel caseback awaits, but the real beauty hides inside. The Cortebert 671 movement is ticking away at 18,000 beats per hour and sits on 15 joules. Cortebert is again a brand name that might not be too familiar. It's a very exclusive and rare to find movement producer which was active to the 70s, closed its doors due to the quartz crisis, just like Velia itself. Cortebert produced the movements for famous models like the Panerai 3646 from the 1940s or the 6152 from the 1950s, with a Rolex branded Calibre 618 supplied by Cortebert inside. It was also found inside the Rolex Eaton Quarter Century Club, with a Rolex Calibre 622 also supplied by Cortebert. And another cool historical aspect, aside IWC, Cortebert was also known for being one of the first to produce a mechanical jumping hour as patented by Josef Paul Weber in 1883. Just to give you a hint on how Cortebert earned its reputation. Now, about the price, this exact watch is nowhere to be found anymore. But there are other watches from the 40s to 50s with the Cortebert hand-wound movements and small seconds, sold for example under the brand name Tellus or Perseo, which are around 1,000 euros, just to give you a slight indication. Now you know how all the dots are connected between Velia and the aforementioned dream car and watch brands. Quite a unique timepiece, and I hope I already gave you a slight hint of what might be in store if we can persuade the Grail Keeper again to open up his cabinet of 1,000 delights. My name is Jan, please stay tuned for the next time-worn gem on this channel.